What is up, y'all? I am so excited to see y'all. I haven't seen y'all in a long time. For those of you that don't know me, I am Dominique, aka that therapist. Well, what does that mean? Who is that therapist? Well, first and foremost, I am the lead clinician and CEO for a group practice known as Yellow Bird Counseling. Well, you might be asking yourself, what is a Yellow Bird Counseling? What do that mean? Well, our normal day-to-day operations include providing mental health therapies to individuals, couples, families, groups in the states of Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Jersey, and Idaho, with more states soon to come in this upcoming year. So we're very excited about that. That's what we do on our normal day-to-day, whoop whoop. But what we do here on social media is we facilitate live discussions every evening that help educate the general population on reasons that we could all of us, you, me, all of us benefit from having a therapist outside of just simply having a mental illness. Because one of the biggest stigmas about seeing a therapist is something got to be wrong with you. Not true. Not true. You just have to be human. That's it. So me, I'm a human. I have a therapist who I see. And a lot of my therapists that work for me see their own therapist. So that's not something that we see as a taboo topic here, because we know in order for us to grow and be able to our clients, we need to ourselves be growing and helping ourselves. Y'all, I'm still overcoming jet lag. So bear with me, and I'm not doing this alone. Again, I haven't been doing topics alone. I've been bringing on my fellow Yellowbird ambassadors. So we are going to have a special guest who we haven't had in a while. So that's going to be super exciting. But while I'm bringing our special guest on, if those of you that are in here, if you could click that share button for us, only if you are subscribe to Breaking the Stigma That Surrounds Mental Health. I'd like for you to click that share button, share this live on your personal page, on your groups. Shoot, you can even click the more options if you're on your phone. Well, I think you can do it if you're on your desktop too, but probably a majority of you on your phone. So you can click that more options, and you can copy and paste this link. And you can slide it in somebody's DMs. You can text it to somebody. You can share it in all sorts of different ways. So if y'all will do that, if you could just share it at least one time, if everybody in here just share it one time, you have then done your part to help us break the stigma that surrounds mental health and wellness by helping someone else get information that they may not have otherwise had. So do that for me, and I will be so grateful, and you'll have done something good for the week. That's your good deed for the week. So without further ado, let me see, because it's looking a little strange. Let me see if I can bring on our special guest. Hey, special guest.
Hello, how are you?
I don't know why it's black.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, you be on the sides of me?
I can hear you, but we can't see you. So dang it.
Are you serious? What about now?
No.
I can see me on this, but it's letting me see. Okay, that's weird. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know either. Let's try to see if you can leave and come back.
Okay.
See if you can leave and come back, and we'll do it like that.
Okay.
All right, cool. So we got our special guest. You know, of course, this is live. This is not recorded with a studio audience. This is just us in our real life. So we're gonna let our special guest try to refresh, and we are gonna get crack-a-lacking. But tell me who you are. Put in the comments, who are you? Tell me who you are. Say hello to us. We love to know who we're talking to. We love to know our community, because a lot of our Yellowbird followers are very, very supportive. Not only do they send their friends and family to us, but they themselves come to us. So definitely please let us know you're here so we can acknowledge you. And of course, you don't have to say if you're getting therapy from us or not. But definitely still let us know who you are, whether you see us or not. We just want to know who's supporting us. All right, I think we got it this time. Let's see. Cool.
Hello.
Yeah, we got it. Now we're cooking with gas.
Hello.
My head's cut off. Okay, so tell us, special guest, tell us your name and what you do so we can all know who we're talking to, know what I'm saying? So let us know. Tell us.
Hello, family, friends, others. I'm Shekinah Joy Lee. I am a honored member of the lovely Yellowbird Counseling. And and I also run Purpose Joy. Purpose Joy is a mental wellness platform, and we do a bunch of psychoeducation events and activities around self-care. I'm a self-care queen. Very intentional about that and things like that. So yes, that is me. That's who I am, and I am blessed to be here.
Yes, we are blessed to have her. We're blessed to have her. This is is this your second year with us?
Third year.
Third? Oh my God, this is third, y'all.
Wait, or is it second? I don't know. Math be mathing. And
the math, it's 2 or 3. Quite a while.
One of those. It's been a minute. More than one.
A while. Right. More than one. Oh Lord, okay. So Shekinah's been here kicking it with us for over a year. We'll say that.
Sounds fair. I like it.
And providing hope and love and joy, obviously, because why not? To our Yellowbird nation and clients. So we're definitely very, very happy to have Shekinah joining us and talking about this very special topic. So tell us kind of what you were thinking when you're like, that's something that needs to be discussed. Tell us about, supporting our loved ones. And I have mentally ill, but, even just loved ones that may be having some mental health concerns. Maybe they don't necessarily have a diagnosis, but they have some concerning things that that are going on with them. And maybe their friends and family may not be sure what direction to go. So tell us kind of what you were thinking.
Okay, so boom. In these more than a year time that I've been at Yellowbird Counseling, and with little sprinkles of my experience in school counseling, I've noticed one consistent trait, or a consistent theme, I'd say, and it's that our family and loved ones, we might have someone that has a diagnosis disorder, maybe going through some type of seemingly really rough time, but we don't really know what to do when it happens. And so we do our best to try to be there and be in support of them and things like that. But we don't also know how to take care of ourselves, advocate for our family member, friend, or loved one, and then how to kind of figure out what resources are available and how to lean into those. Hint, hint, Yellowbird Counseling. But what we want to do is try to, or today's conversation, the intent is to help us to get some type of tools to kind of understand what a step one might be, and what that might look like for us, so we can get to a more healed and accepting and unconditionally full and loving space with our friends and our family members that might be experiencing some type of mental health situation, circumstance, or disorder.
Yep. Love it. So now that y'all have a general idea of what we're going to be discussing, if you haven't already, please each of you share this live. Like I said, there's 3 different ways you can share. You can share it to your page, your personal page. You can share it to one of your Facebook groups, or you can click the more options and you can copy and paste the link in somebody's text messages, in their DMs, or wherever. Slide up on them, however. Snapchat, okay? Kick, all right, whatever. Just so they can get in here and we can talk to them and get a discussion going, or they can listen and just get maybe some of the support they either didn't know they were looking for, and maybe they knew they were looking for, but they didn't know where to find it. So definitely please share this, because this is a very important conversation. And because a large majority of us have at least something going on,
Yes.
we all need to hear what Shekinah has to share with us, and also be sure that we spread the word. So perfect. Thank you. So give us maybe some examples of situations that a loved one could be experiencing that like a friend or family member may find themselves feeling lost or confused in.
Okay, so boom. Let's say that your family member or loved one may have had a hospitalization, or may have had some type of encounter where they had to get themselves, rehabilitated and things like that. And so now they're back home and back in the space with you, and you don't understand fully how to support them, what that looks like, or if you might still be seeing some symptoms of whatever the immediate circumstance was that led them to hospitalization. So you're trying to figure out where is the navigation between, like, okay, is this enough for somebody to be hospitalized, or do I need to take them, or is this something that I need to figure out how to manage, or even how do you take care of yourself, the trauma of your family or loved one having to go to the hospital? That's a traumatic experience. Vicarious trauma is real. Whether you're the person that's there actually in the hospital with them or not, whether you're the person that was on the other call trying to get them the support that they needed, whatever the case may be, that's a traumatic experience. So being able to be in place, have resources in place for yourself too, to be able to navigate that as well. It's not just about, whatever just because you weren't the person that went through it doesn't mean it doesn't impact you. And I think that's really, really important for us to remember. So that's one in particular. Another one I can immediately think about as well is, again, in my time in school, during school counseling, when your child may have to have some extra supports as relates to being an exceptional child, or having to have some type of accommodations, right? You may need a therapist to even navigate that space and get some extra resources in that regard. It's not easy to acclimate, especially when you might not have the immediate resources for yourself to figure out what you need to do for your child, or anything around, like, what you should be communicating to their teachers, what you should be communicating to that school, of the school officials, what type of support do they need to have outside of school, what type of stuff do they need for their homework or help with their homework, what type of therapist you need to get to help with the extra things outside of just their initial therapist that they have. Like, all these things are things that you need to get in contact with your own personal therapist with. That's what spaces and support spaces, support groups are. All those things are for and in place for that, so you can have the tools you need to be able to support your loved one. And then the last one is understanding how grief works with understanding the grief of you being in a situation with a person who is not the same anymore. And this might be for if you have a family or loved one who might be experiencing dementia or Alzheimer's or something to that effect, or they might have gone through some type of major injury or major traumatic experience that caused them to not have the same cognitive function that they had before. So being in those spaces and having to like relearn how to support, relearn how to love and care for that person that you love and care for, it takes work, it takes extra support, and you don't have to do it by yourself. So trying to understand that you need support in those ways too, and there's nothing wrong with asking for it, and making sure you're putting yourself in a position to slide on down to places like Yellowbird Counseling, so you can get the support in that regard.
Yep. Love it. And then after you kind of cover those areas, like first steps with those areas, if you don't mind, because I'm sure there's a lot of people in here experiencing maybe a loved one who has difficult behaviors. Maybe they haven't been hospitalized, and maybe they're not a kid. Maybe there's somebody we've dated or a friend who may be engaging in behaviors that either hurt them or hurt others, as far as like maybe their socialization with others, maybe the way they socialize, maybe they're not the kindest person due to some sort of mental circumstance, or maybe they are a more needy person, or they tend to maybe take more than what they give. There's those circumstances, or people that may have some personality issues going on, and we don't know how to navigate those type of relationships. So we can get more into that after we talk more about these first ones, but just so you can have those thoughts percolating in the back of your head.
They percolate. They percolate. But
Yeah.
I think so I think these are the circumstances that you initially see. So then what you want to do again is you want to kind of, I have this little acronym that I like, acronym, sorry, that I like to use. It's called getting active, right? And so getting active simply means being aware, being curious, being teachable, being inclusive, being validating, and then being an educator. The idea around it is to help us to be aware, first of all, like checking in with your loved one and things like that, and seeing what they need, and if they can vocalize, what that support might look like for them. So, mind you, it might have been something that you did all the time together, right? Or places you used to go, but due to whatever their circumstance might be, they can't do that anymore. So, figuring out, being aware of that fact, not letting people. Sometimes when we do experience some type of mental illness or some type of traumatic experience or experiencing some type of grief, we tend to isolate. That's a thing that a lot of people do. Not allowing them to do that, checking in, whatever checking in might be. That's how you maintain awareness with your friend or your loved one, right? Very imperative. You want to be curious. You don't want to, it's always a little unsafe to approach a situation like or you are the expert, right? It's not, even in our own practice, and I'm sure Dominique, you can attest to this. You are your own expert. We help you, guide you to the space and the understanding of like what that's supposed to look like. But we don't know, you better than we all do. You know what I'm saying? So trying to give people the autonomy even in that space. I'm not trying to snatch away or different opportunities or different things that they might want to try, figuring out a way to like, okay, so this is something you want to do. How can we help you do this? How can we help you if you're struggling to be in large crowds now, but you still want to go to a concert or something like that? So what does that look like for us to try to accommodate you in that way? Being curious, even when you're starting to notice some symptoms, not making assumptions about why somebody's doing something that they're doing. We may make, I think a bigger thing too, is when we're thinking about what it talks about around, this might touch on a little bit what you were talking about earlier, Dominique, as it relates to behaviors. When we're talking about certain disorders and when we're talking about what it looks like to get back regulated, right? Those that, first of all, it takes time, but second of all, the symptoms that show up after that could be it may seem like it's getting worse before it gets better. Somebody has to stabilize themselves, and that might look like having an attitude to you, that might look like being short to you, that might look like being disrespectful or like not being able to have or struggling with compulsive behaviors and things like that. That's what that might look like. But we have to be able to again approach it with some curiosity and not assume that this is where this is coming from. They might be needing to be regulated, and what they need in that space is unconditional acceptance and grace, right? So again, with the curiosity piece, maintaining that, because we don't ever really know how somebody's body is going to react to certain things. So allowing them the space to figure that out for themselves.
I'm gonna with that, because that's a very important point. That might be a boundary that people have difficulty navigating. Like, what does that look like to be supportive of that person with those troublesome or concerning behaviors, but also, knowing when we might have to do a little bit more from a distance.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think too, this is further why you need to support yourself. You need to have a therapist yourself while you're navigating this space, because those are conversations that you navigate with your therapist. One of the biggest things that we establish, even like I told you guys earlier, self-care queen. I think one of the top tiers, if I had to make a tier of what was most important as it relates to self-care, all these things that we talk about are what you need to implement can't even be implemented unless you're identifying some boundaries, clear-cut boundaries for yourself and the people around you, right? And mine that I said for myself and the people around me. I have to also be aware of the things that I'm doing that are adding to the situation and the things that someone else is doing that is making me feel a certain type of way. So identifying those things, much like you said, Dominique, and being able to monitor like how close do I need to be, what I need to do, what I need to step away from. But sometimes it's hard for you to have those conversations with yourself. You see what I'm saying? You need a therapist to help you kind of navigate what do those look like, help hold you accountable for the boundaries that you said you were going to set, and help you kind of get another perspective of what those boundaries can start to look like.
Love it. Perfect. Thank you for with that extra caveat on the curiosity. Yes.
Sprinkle the curious. It's important. It's important. And then being teachable. So this kind of ties into the curiosity piece, but in another way. You got to remove any assumptions. If someone has a diagnosis And I know you can attest to this too, Dominique. If you see somebody with a diagnosis on television, what it looks like on television, what it presents there does not at all match what what it can actually present in real life. So making assumptions about that, I think one of the I currently now work in I'm working at an eating recovery clinic, and I'm learning a lot about different disorders. It's been very fascinating. But the biggest thing that I even had to check with myself in that space was understanding what an eating disorder looks like and how they show up. And there's so many different variations. It can be in so many different ways. And so you find yourself often explaining, like, this is though this is their diagnosis, just because it's a diagnosis, this isn't what there is no picture of what this person looks like because they're diagnosed with this thing. And so making sure that we maintain, again, that curiosity piece, but being educated on things, removing those assumptions, coming to it really, really open-minded, and understanding that there's some ways that need to be navigated. Also, if that being teachable is you putting a way to, well, I always been this way, I've always done this, I've never done that. Well, when certain circumstances change, you might have to change as well. One of the best things I've ever heard, professor wise, her name was Dr. Parker, at Montevallo. Well, you know Dr. Parker, but anyway, she said one of these things: as your life changes, so does your self care. It was in the middle of the pandemic. She said that to one of our classes. I never forgot it, because literally, as your life changes, so does your self care. As your circumstances change, so does your self care. As the people around you change, so does your self care. And if you might have thought how you did something could have been effective last year, the year before that, or whatever, before everything happened, now we have to make some adjustments, and you have to be able to be teachable about what those adjustments are supposed to look like. It's not up to you sometimes, and being able to understand that part is really, really important.
So it with the examples that you gave us, starting off, like, somebody's been hospitalized, or like if you're a parent having to support your kid, what might those adjustments look like in those particular circumstances?
Awesome question. So when we're talking about things like hospitalization, right, and you being teachable, if you're trying to seek out support from their therapist, or trying to understand what the outpatient plan is once they leave, you need to be able to be adjustable and be teachable around that. If they're saying certain things don't work for them, there's certain loud noises they can't take, or if they're saying that maybe being a little bit more loose, because rigidity is sometimes a thing that comes after hospitalization. Being very sensitive to certain sounds and experiences are something that happens as our body is getting stabilized. So if they're telling you what these things are and what to look for in that way, you have to be teachable in that space. When we're talking about your child, and they may be getting accommodations, these accommodations don't just start and stop at school. They start and stop. You have to take them home with you too. If the idea is that we have to go over our homework a little bit more, yeah, maybe we do, and maybe we do need to have these conversations, and encouraging reading certain books or doing certain activities, or whatever we need to do to help them maintain whatever they're learning at school and carrying it on through the weekend, through the summer. All these things, you got to be teachable in those spaces as well. And then even in that being teachable, when you partner with the therapist too, because that's something that you need to do. If your therapist is trying to educate you on what the disorder is, what the support is supposed to look like, or even educate you on how you might show up, or different things that are coming up for you and things like that, in that being teachable moment, what do I need to do to make an adjustment? It's always crazy how, like, when you get into a situation, you don't realize like what is the thing until you're like in the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as you also struggled in school. So now your assumption is like, oh no, ain't nothing wrong with them because it wasn't nothing wrong with me, or ain't nothing going on because it wasn't anything going on with me. I was fine. I was fine. No, let's go put that over there. Okay. All right. And be open to being teachable around what that might look like and what support might look like in that space.
Love it. Love it. So, and two, maybe in the harder one, maybe the example that I talked about, when it's that person's behaviors impact you, the loved one. What could that look like for teachable?
So when we're talking about when their behaviors are impacting you, and we're asking ourselves to be, if we want to maintain a being teachable, I don't want to say, Maya Angelou used to say, like, when somebody shows you who you are, believe them. In a sense of the circumstances, if they might change, and this moment is teaching you, whatever moment that was, of a moment where you felt uncomfortable, or something that you're realizing might not be something that needs to be addressed again. Like, for example, when certain people experience different traumas, crowds might not be a thing anymore. Your favorite thing to do might have been going to the park on Saturdays or something like that. And now the way that person, because of that traumatic experience, that's just not a place that they can be in the same place anymore. So this experience is teaching me, like, we need to make an adjustment. For you to continue to try to do the same thing and do the same thing over and over again in that space might not be helpful. And then again, partnering with a therapist to understand, well, when you went, what was coming up for you? What was happening? What did that look like? It might be that, even if it might not even be that what they are doing is so bad, it's how you feel about what they're doing. So that might be something else for you. Are you a very performance-based person? Do you care a lot about what people think about you? All these things might be coming up. And if you are in a space to be teachable in that moment, your therapist can help walk you through navigating what type of self-care you need to engage in so that you can show up the way you need to for your family or loved one.
Perfect. Love it. Love it. Okay. So after being active and curious and teachable, what we got?
Okay, so boom. You got to be inclusive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we figured out these things. We figured out what needs to be adjusted. Okay, now it's time to apply, right? You love someone, you care about someone. I told you at the very beginning, when someone's going through something, more times than not, they're going to isolate. Don't let them. Meet them where they're at. Meet them where they're at. Meet them where they are at. We don't like crowds no more. Okay, bet. Friday night is movie night. Which one you want to watch? We're gonna be at the house. We're gonna watch this movie together. You don't like, or we're having some issues with like sound and things like that. Okay, we'll turn the TV a little bit lower. I understand. I got you. Or my lights won't be so bright anymore. The fluorescent lights might bother you. So we're going to use low lights in the house from now on. Things like that. Including someone, helping them understand, with not saying we got to do this because of Johnny. No. Saying that without having to say it at all, being aware enough again, being curious enough, being teachable enough to figure out the things that are necessary so you can be inclusive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that might be an area people would have to talk to their own. Like you said, it could be a little difficult to recognize the adjustments we need to make and engage them. So as of course we know our loved one probably will have their own supports in place, but us as a supporter, really making sure that we are having honest conversations with our therapist about like how we feel about what's going on with our loved one, and really being honest, because sometimes it's not, oh, I just want to help them. They're, my mother, sister, brother, boyfriend, girlfriend, they, them, and I just want to be here regardless. It could be like, dang, that pisses me off when they do that. I don't understand why they keep doing that. I don't understand why, they say one thing and do another, and it's hard for me to want to be there. Those are the type of open, honest conversations you want to be having with your personal support, so that they can help you see things maybe from another perspective, or maybe it might be development of a boundary that you may need to have to keep yourself and the other person safe. And I'm not talking about just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well.
Mm-hmm. I've heard sometimes when we talk about people that might be, well, this is an example to your point, Dominique. When we talk about someone who is struggling with dementia and things like that, trying to remind them again of what today is, or trying to bring them back to the same place, sometimes that's not as helpful as it is to just let them think and believe whatever for the sake of that space. And it could be irritating and frustrating and annoying and things like that. But you help them have a good day today, because instead of leaning into what was making you uncomfortable, you try to make space for them to be comfortable. And even being aware of things like that. So I think it's an awesome point.
Love it, love it, love it. So inclusive, good. What do we do next?
So then after that, you want to be validating, okay? It's their experience. You know nothing, okay? It's their experience. So whenever they're saying that, I'm having a rough day today, it doesn't matter if it seemed like 3 or 4 days were awesome, and now all of a sudden give them the space, let them have it, and be curious and teachable and be inclusive in that way. But we don't want to, and this comes a little bit too to the assumption piece too. You don't ever want to invalidate or make someone feel like how they're expressing or what they're expressing isn't right, or make them feel like any shame around what they're experiencing, because that's a bigger part that we have, a bigger issue that we have. This part of why mental health is so taboo is because of the shame that's attached to it. I don't want to feel this way. This is just how I feel. You can hold space for having a good day. You can hold space for having a bad day. You can hold space for, I can be upset and I really love you and care about you, but this is just what I'm experiencing right now. I can feel better, but I still don't feel great. Though all those things they can all be in the same place. So let's not throw the whole thing away. Let's not try to invalidate somebody's experience. And also, let's all lean into our own emotions. Just like you were just saying, Dominique, validate your own experience. Be honest with yourself about what's happening. You are not a bad mother, a bad parent, a bad friend, a bad partner, a bad person, any of that. If you're upset or mad or feel wrong or just want things to go back to the way they were, that's perfectly okay. But when you acknowledge those things, you can validate it with yourself first. But the ultimate form of validation is being able to partner yourself with a therapist that you can have a conversation with this about, and they can further validate your experience, and not just validate your experience, but give you the tools to help you navigate it too.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Cool. All right. So we validated ourselves and validated our loved one and supported them there. What do we do after that?
Last but not least, my favorite one, be an educator. You could be an educator. Your mama could be an educator. Your brother could be an educator. Your sister could be an educator. Your friend could be an educator. Your partner could be an educator. Everybody can be an educator. Once you understand what's going on, it helps you. You know that phrase is old and tried and true. Each one teach one. That's very, very, it's like, that's just what it is. It's how we change the community. That's how we change the lifestyle. That's how we change the culture. Each one teach one. You educate the next person. You see them talking about somebody ridiculous, whether you are familiar with the person or not. Educate them on what that person might be experiencing. Educate them on what anxiety might look like, because you have someone who's experiencing anxiety. Educate them on what bipolar disorder might look like, or a learning disability might look like, so you can help them understand. And then once you help them understand, you can help them tap into their own grace and their own empathy, and then they'll be educating the next person and the next person and the next person. It'll just keep going. But you have to start with that baseline of like deciding for yourself, you know what, I'm not going to be a bystander in this. I'm not going to just watch it happen. I'm going to engage myself in this space and educate someone else, so that they can learn what they need to in this space, hopefully, and take it on to the next person. You remember when it was all those bullying commercials and stuff, and when talk about bullying, and the whole thing around it was like, you're just as guilty as a person being bullied if you don't stand, or the person bullying if you don't say anything about it. Now, same concept, different situation. When we're watching people continue to dehumanize people who are having different mental health experiences, and we know better, don't let that slip by the wayside. Educate somebody. And I'm not saying like wave your finger and try to be disrespectful or throw the whole. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying to put yourself in a position to help introduce another perspective to somebody, because oftentimes that's all it takes is another perspective. And before you know it, they're thinking differently, acting differently, seeing things in a different way, and they're going to go tell the next person.
Yep. Love it. Love it. So, how to integrate ourselves and support and provide support for our loved one. I think those are some great beginning steps with that theme of you can't do that by yourself. That's what I took away. You do need your own therapist. You need somebody that doesn't have skin in the game, that can provide provide some clear things to consider. Whereas a friend or a family member who might have skin in the game, they're going to tell you, well, I would do this and I would do that. Well, maybe what they would do wouldn't work for you, or it can worsen your situation. So, or they probably didn't maybe need to be doing what they did, So it might not be the best idea to just lean on what mama say, daddy say, auntie, friend, family member, or coworker say. You need somebody that can give you a more objective viewpoint of things and help you come to a conclusion that suits you best, not what would suit them best.
Right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like whoever's watching this, you're watching this because you want to be a good support to your family or loved one. You want to be a good support to them. You want to show up for them. You want to be in a position to be able to help in any way you can. And the first thing you can do is take care of yourself. The first thing, the best possible thing you can do. If you're running on, this is not an easy task. Being a caregiver in any capacity is not an easy task at all. Caregiver's fatigue is real. It's a real.
Mm-hmm.
So if we know this, it's almost like you would be doing the person that you care about a disservice if you do not also get help.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's kind of like what I be telling those parents calling. They're like, I know I probably need my own therapy, but I need to get my baby straight first.
All
That
y'all,
is not a thing.
all y'all, everybody, all y'all.
That's not a thing, because while your baby getting the help they need and you still procrastinating on it, then everything the therapist is trying to do with your baby, there's more tension created because the baby might be growing and changing, but you are staying in the same place you were in. And like she kind of was saying earlier, your adjustments aren't being made to accommodate your baby with your own maybe survival skills you were using before. And so you're seeing new or different or more intensified things going on because there's that tension of they're changing and you're not.
Yeah, I think too, to your point, Dominique, there's also this like very real, I think sometimes like disconnect people have as it relates to like the dependence on the role of the person in the family. Like if we know how it happens where like everybody has a role, they have something that they're doing, something that they're used to everybody doing and stuff like that. And if someone's always been known as the sick one or the always been known as the one that has this issue or whatever the case, then that language of the family, everybody else's role takes a shift. You like, I wish everyone could really see, the full impact of that. It is very much so a ripple effect. If you think of it as a table with four legs on it, everybody had their role and was adjusted in that role. As soon as you remove the leg, and not even removing the person truly, you're just making an adjustment on how that leg stands. The table's going to be wobbly or whatever the case may be. The table won't stand the same anymore. And so you have to learn what tools you need to make sure the table stands upright and stable and sturdy again. And I hope that people take that away from this space, if nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, what might be some other ways a person might care in that supportive role of a friend or family um, member going through some issues?
I'm sorry, you broke up the last part. What'd you say? What are some what?
Oh, I was asking, what are some other ways that we might engage in our own self-care when we are supporting a friend or family member that may be experiencing some mental health challenges?
Okay, boom. This is my favorite thing, and I think I don't even remember how it first happened. I think I got it from when I was doing school counseling with the kids and stuff. But either case, I've been carrying it with me ever since. It's very simple. It's 3 words: stop, check, reflect. Say it with me now. Stop, check, reflect. Okay, those things, those 3 things, before when a circumstance first hits the fan, right? You want to have a knee-jerk reaction. Our fight or flight response, it shows up. It saves us in a lot of ways, but it messes us up too.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. You have to stop right then. You have to check your physiological signs. Your body is always telling you something. Is your heart racing? Is your stomach hurting? Are you sweating? Are your palms sweaty? Do you have a jump in your legs? Are your hands hot? All these things are physiological signs that are warning you that I'm starting to feel a little extra. I'm not feeling my best right now. This is making me feel overwhelmed, right? Then you reflect on what circumstance, what's happening, what's causing this. Is this person's behavior causing this? What about the behavior is causing me to have this problem? And if you can't reflect on that space, that's where you need a therapist to come in and help you support with that. But as soon as you reflect and see what the issue is, like maybe there's a thing that where they flip a table or they throw something on the floor when they get really upset or they get really excited about something, right? So if that's something that they do, you take your moment, you stop, you check, you reflect, step away for a moment. Maybe you need to go breathe, do your meditation, and come back to the space, right? Or maybe whatever you need to do to decompress and come back to the space, whether it be like an affirmation you need to remind yourself of, maybe it's your own like coping skill that you use, whether it's like a mindfulness activity, a breathing activity, the 4 square breathing, whatever you need to do to kind of bring yourself back to and then present to the situation. Because oftentimes what happens is we do not take a pause and then all poop breaks loose. I was about to curse, but everything. Okay.
That's
So
okay, because we all curse.
I appreciate it. Thank you for permission. But we
But
want
yeah.
to keep
Go
that
ahead.
and keep that thing in order. And then once we kind of do that part of it right, you always want to be proactive instead of reactive. Proactive instead of reactive. That's the stop, check, and reflect is what you do in the midst of the storm, right? Before the storm comes, while it's all sunny and bright outside and everything seems lovely, you need to be getting into your self-care bag every morning. What is that? Maybe you're journaling about it. Your session is already set up that Saturday. So if something pop off Friday, you're gonna be like, oh, I can't wait to tell my therapist about this. You see what I'm saying? You already got those different supports in place. Whatever your social activity or extra support socially looks like. So if that's your friends, if that's your loved one, if that's some type of small group, if that's like your book club, whatever that thing is that you got on a regular basis, your time with your people, where there's no extra pressure or anything like that in place, have that set up already. You make sure that you have your safety plan in place already. If there is a crisis that takes place in the household, you have your list of resources that you call on. You have your list of phone numbers that you have, including whoever the supportive person is, or the person that needs the support, their therapist, or whoever their outpatient team is. All that stuff. You have a paper that already has that information on it, including their favorite like little coping skills, having a crisis box or something like that somewhere, so that if they're starting to feel overwhelmed, maybe there's a favorite book that calms them down, a favorite song, favorite movie, a favorite activity that calms them down. That needs to be somewhere sacred, already ready to go in case anything pops off, right? And then lastly, for you, just like you have a safety plan and safety process for them, you need to have a safety plan and safety process for yourself. What is the thing that you do that brings you joy, brings you peace, helps you feel calm, right? And we don't need to just do it in a crisis. We need to be doing it at least 2 to 3 times a week. And if you don't know how to get there, if you don't understand, if you're confused or you feel a little disconnected, you're like, I don't even know what she's talking about. Like, how can I possibly, what is that? What is finding peace? Well, guess what you need? Okay. You need your therapist. That's what you need. And you slide on the Yellowbird Counseling, and you get you some support. We got self-care assessments for days. We got all type of coping skills and mechanisms for days, all type of thought records, all type of everything. And we can go through that process with you so you can have the tools that you need to take on the world. So you can be equipped.
Right.
Those are my
Right. And allowing yourself to have help, because a lot of times part of the stigma around letting ourselves have help when we're dealing with someone else who we feel like quote unquote needs more than we do, we get like you said, that shame around it. But no, like, we're all humans. We all have our own limits. And other humans oftentimes challenge our limits, whether we love them or whether we don't. They still challenge our limits. So we got to be aware of the fact that every person in our space is going to impact us in one way or another. And we need to be sure that we're okay with the impact that they have, or at least we're prepared for in the best possible way, whatever that looks like for you as an individual. Prepared for the impact that that individual's struggles may have on us. Yep. So cool. I love it. I think that was really, really good and informative. Of course, if y'all have any questions, please, whether you're watching on the replay or whether you're watching in real time, please ask your questions so that we can answer them, because I know this could be a hot topic. Just, people feeling lost and not knowing what to do when someone in our life may need some extra support. So, yeah. And like Shekinah said, there's different ways that could look like. That could be, a family member dealing with some traumatic brain injury or dementia. It could be a child dealing with needing extra support at school. It could be a boyfriend or girlfriend, a they, them, that's experiencing maybe some trauma or just their own, could be some personality stuff. It could be some supporting someone in maybe a grief situation where they've lost somebody, and that's caused them to change in ways. Like, there's just different situations where we might find ourselves having to be in a supportive capacity, or wanting to be, or wanting to be in a supportive capacity. But realizing at the base of that all that you cannot help anybody without first helping yourself. Kind of like how they say when the mask drop on the airplane, you got to secure your own mask on before you secure the mask of the person next to you. Because if you secure theirs first and not yours, you might pass out in the process trying to help them. So really, really saying, okay, if I want to be there for this person, I have to be there for myself first. Yep. Love it. Love it. Okay. Well, let me ask this. What might be some boundaries that you might tell people to assess that they may need to talk about with their therapist more?
That's a great question. I think at the most basic, like as soon as you said that, I thought about time. I think that people don't understand the power of giving people some space and you giving yourself space too. Just because you live in the same house even doesn't mean you have to sit on top of them. Because honestly, like even in our own practice and stuff like that, at the core of it, are you doing harm to yourself or someone else? If that's not the case, right, and there's nobody that's in immediate danger, you can step away for a second. That's okay. It's okay to give yourself time and space. You don't have to be. Doesn't have to be go 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 all the time. You can really give yourself a break, and in those little times where you give yourself a break, that can be your recharge time. That can be your time to just relax. Shoot, that could be your time to sleep if you need it. Whatever that might be, just give yourself the opportunity to have that room to do that, and prepare yourself with supports in that regard. Which brings me to my second one, um, a boundary around what your supports look like. To your point earlier, Dominique, and I think that was a great point around like what whoever else is trying to give you advice is not a professional. You see what I'm saying? Just because they say that that's what you should do doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you got to do. Whatever your dynamic is your dynamic. Whatever that support looks for you is what that support looks like for you. And as long as you, again, nobody's getting harmed or you're not doing harm to yourself or someone else, and especially if you're tapping in with the therapist and you're tapping in with their care team, their whatever that looks like, you're good. But whatever judgment and stuff like that, you have to let that go because they're not in it. They're not in there with you. So you determining for yourself what does that look like? What does my system look like? And being able to walk in that without any type of apprehension or looking back or trying to take on this opinion and that opinion and that opinion, because you're gonna be running around looking crazy. And we don't need that. We don't need you looking confused, right? So that part first, the time piece, then the keeping boundaries with your communication, your supports piece, and then the last one as far as boundaries is you being careful about you and your awareness of your own cup.
Mm-hmm.
Who you were before a circumstance happened might not be the same as who you are in this circumstance. So how you work, what you do for your living might not be able to be the same. How you operate at home might not be the same. What you do in your free time might not be the same. All those things might need to make adjustments, and you have to be able to be very cognizant of that when it's time for you to take a break, when you are tired, when you need rest, when you are hungry, obeying your body. I think at the core of it, really just mindfulness, right? Because if you aren't, again, to our point earlier, you can't pour from an empty cup, but then it'll be even worse if, because of the fact that you're neglecting yourself, you start to develop some issues of your own.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you make sure that you are really truly being mindful and taking care of yourself in that regard. And that could be something as simple as putting an alarm on your phone. I think that's most, like, I don't even know where I got that from. I think it was like a book or something. But I literally, there's an alarm on my phone that goes off at 12 o'clock that asks me, like, how am I doing today? Mainly because I forget to eat sometimes because I be running around. Or even if I just need to drink some water, I'm having a really rough day, like give myself a break to journal, whatever the case may be. But just checking in with yourself to see how you are doing, what's going on with you, that can help relieve some of that caregiver's fatigue that you might be experiencing. Somebody needs to be asking you how you're doing today, and it might as well be you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. Yep. Yep. And we try to, sometimes we'll really minimize those small things, but those small things are definitely to keep us regulated throughout, to keep our baseline and our tolerance at a great level, or a normal level, or whatever, a level that we can withstand changes coming in that may not be the easiest. We need to have that daily routine that we're doing so we can endure a little easier when things do come up. But if you're like, I don't really need to drink water, I'll eat later, or I don't really need to get that much sleep. The more you start letting that stuff go, the harder you're going to see that everyday situations, or even situations that are just life and is going to impact you.
Absolutely.
Yep. So definitely not taking that for granted, taking all those coping skills, whether it is an affirmation regimen, whether it is sleep, whether it is journaling, whether it is drinking your water. getting your exercise, whatever your regimen needs to look like for you as an individual, not neglecting that, because things are going to feel harder and probably actually be harder because you're trying to run on fumes.
Right.
Yep. Well, awesome. This has been so great. What are some, like, maybe some last takeaways you might give those watching?
First I would say, from my heart to yours, I commend you in taking care of yourself and the people that you care about. That's not an easy task. You could just as easily walk away. But instead you're there and you're in the trenches, and I thank you for that. And we all thank you for that, because it's not an easy job. But with that, well, also I'm gonna say and you need to be taking care of yourself.
Yep.
And if you feel some conviction, if when I'm saying you need to be taking care of yourself, you can think in your mind about like 3 things you should be doing to help yourself out. People you should be calling, i.e. Yellowbird Counseling or whatever the case. Like, do it. Just do that thing. Just do it, because you don't have to do this by yourself. I think that's a major thing. You don't have to do this by yourself. You're not meant to do this by yourself. This is not an easy task. We have to go to school for, I was talking to somebody, and to get a full LPC is like about the same amount that you have to do to get like a medical doctorate. It's kind of wild.
Yep.
But anyway,
yep.
We went to school for several years, several trainings, still in training in a lot of ways, learning new things every day. And there's still things that come up that we need to get extra support from a supervisor or a colleague from. With that being said, we're in the field practicing. You're not meant to do this by yourself. That's not what your role is. It's just not. Yep. So don't do it to yourself. Get some support, because you need it. Get some support.
Right. Shoot, even us as therapists, with all our fancy degrees in training, we still need our own therapists for our personal situations and our personal relationships with our loved ones, because we're still human. Before any of that, we're still human. So if the professional need help, then the person that didn't go to school for it also is going to need help.
Absolutely. Got a notification about my session on Saturday just a few minutes ago.
Right. You see there? See? So we got to do that. So be sure that you're really being a good helper by helping yourself and making sure you're doing what you need to do to fill your cup up. But thank you so much, Shekinah, for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Giving us those great nuggets. We're definitely gonna implement and take them away. And of course, like I said, if you're watching in real time or on the replay and you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I also put our number to text. If you do need support or therapies, or someone that you know needs support or therapies, they can simply just text the word "new" to the number below. If you're not able to write it down, you can take a screenshot of this so you'll have it for later, and for yourself or for your loved ones, so that we can be your team and support you. And we have several therapists. We have several people that their whole family seeing us. We got maybe the mom seeing me, the dad seeing Shekinah, the kids seeing Dr. Nicole, maybe the family is seeing Jakia. So we have all that in place to really be able to provide maximum support to not only you, but your friends and family that you love as well.
Yes. Gang, gang.
Right. Gang all the way. Community, staying connected, like each one teach one. We're all helping ourselves so that we can help each other. Love it. All right. Well, I'm not going to keep you too long, girl. Thank you so much. I know you're going to be back with us again.
Thank you.
Yes. We enjoyed you. I'm going to let you go, but we're going to see you again soon. Bye. All right, y'all. So there you go. Again, please share this live. She kind of gave a lot of very helpful nuggets and a lot of great education, just some very basic things to start with to give people direction that may be feeling lost in a situation with a loved one, or feeling lost in a situation with themselves. So definitely, please share. And you've done your part to break the stigma that surrounds mental health and wellness by providing a friend, family member, a coworker, or a partner with resources to your journey, and then you receiving resources to help you on your journey as well. And I have not forgot. I ain't forgot. So if you know, and if you don't know, then you want to text the word live to this number, because then you'll know when we do our special things that we do for our community. Or you want to go over to yellowbirdcounseling.com and you want to subscribe to our newsletter so that you'll know what's going on with us. But tonight is another $100 Cash App giveaway. So for those of you that did the thing, thank you for doing the thing, because guess what? Your odds are high. We got Tanea Keller and we got Nikki Leilani, two of our contestants that have been here before. So let's see. And they know they got to be present to win. So this is going to be a little easy. I'm going to give y'all each a number. Nikki, I'm going to give you number 1. And Tanea Keller, I'm going to give you number 2. And just make sure y'all shared it. I got to be able, because whoever wins, I got to see that you shared it on your page. All right? I got to be able to see. So it has to be public. Adrian Stewart. Hey, girl. You can be number 3. I'm going to give you number 3. All right? So we're going to do that. Let's make sure I didn't miss anybody. We got, what I say, Nikki is number 1. Tanea is number 2. And Adrian is number 3. Great. So let me show y'all, because y'all know I start from the beginning. So y'all know that I don't pick no favorites. Everybody's my favorite. Y'all probably like, no, everybody's not your favorite. A lot of people are. There are people that are not my favorite, but many people are. So, all right. So let's start from our new. All right. We're going to do our random number wheel generator. All right. Oh, wait. Y'all can't see that. Always. Oh, man. Hold on. All right. So view tab. Okay. No. All right. So this should be it. Show this tab instead, because I had forgot to show y'all the tabs before. All right. So we got our minimum is 1. This is a few we've had in a while. So great for y'all, because usually we have like 17s, 15. So this is good. Let's see. All right, so let's see what we got. The odds are good for our 3 contestants. Let's make sure that we have it. All right. Got to share and be present to win. So let's see. Let's see what we got. Let's spin. Oh my gosh! Oh wow! That is so cool. Adrian, that's you. You had got it. Are you here, Adrian? I know you said hey, so you probably still are here. Oh my gosh! You slid in and got it. Yes, congratulations. Oh wow. Perfect. Let me get your stuff sent. Yay! Adrian, welcome to the winning team. Some people have won multiple times, so this looks like it's probably Adrian's first time. That is so great. All right, yep. There you go. Making sure I'm sending it to the right person. Congratulations from Yellowbird Counseling. Perfect. So I just sent that. And I got to show it. Make sure y'all see it. Adrian, you got to tell us when you got it. Let's see. Let me unshare so y'all can see. I sent it. You are so welcome. Congratulations. Yay. Woo. Y'all give some hearts and some likes. And we got us a new winner. I love it. So perfect. Have your little extra cash for the weekend, because you know we want to have a little extra. So, got it? Good. All right. Well, y'all, we're going to definitely see you next week with some new topics that we'll have for July. But definitely, again, please share this live. Please have these conversations with your friend, your family, your coworker, and especially your therapist to be sure that you're doing all that you can for yourself and the people that you care about. But that is that for this evening. Y'all have a safe weekend, and we will see you again soon.